week is usually super busy with all the clients and all that, but can't complain, you know? What about you?
Yeah, things are busy, likewise working hard on operation side of things and everything. Yeah, so that's pretty
That's
much it.
awesome. Where are you based right now?
I'm based out of Edmonton, Canada. How about you?
London. Yeah.
That's nice. So we have community guests, they're also joining.
Awesome.
Uh,
Welcome, guys. Welcome.
so guys, everybody please meet Vincenzo. He's one of my friends. Met him at Seattle conference last year. So
That's
we had
right.
a good
Yeah.
time there. Good time there, yeah.
Yeah. We spent some nice time there. Had a nice burger and a few beers.
Right? So we'll give it
Yes.
maybe a couple of more minutes, let other people join. So guys, so
Good.
this is this community, officially is being launched, today. So we have our, early members, they have got special access to this community, and this will be a gated community only for Amazon sellers, and all of our community members, they're going to have special access to interviews with special guests, and Vincenzo is one of our first guests. So we're going to talk about search query performance today, and in the
Yep.
end we will be very happy to take any questions that you guys may have, and we're also going to upload a recording of this meeting into the classroom on school. So perfect. So let's maybe from the community members, let's just see where
Yeah.
you guys are joining from. Abdul,
Yeah. Where are you guys? Yeah. Where you guys from? Let's see. Let's see.
that's right. And Vincent, where are you joining from this time?
So myself, yeah, I'm well, originally myself from Italy, born in Naples, raised in Venezuela, live a few years in the US, Canada. I also lived there 1 year in Toronto.
Okay.
And then I said, you know what, I want to give it a try to the UK. Came
Hmm.
to the UK, and I've been here. Well, I've been in the UK 10 years now, so a long time. Yeah.
It's nice you have been,
Yeah.
traveled, pretty much been most of the, continents.
I've been a nomad. Yeah.
It's nice. So, tell
So
a little bit about your Amazon journey, Vincenzo. Like, how did you
yeah, of course. Yeah.
e-commerce?
So basically, yeah, I got started. My background is a aerospace engineer. That's why I came to the UK in the first instance to do my degree in aerospace engineering.
Mhm.
And I started working as an engineer. I used to work for the company Rolls-Royce, which I'm sure a lot of you guys know because of the fancy cars. I was actually on the factory responsible for turbines for airplanes. They also do engines for airplanes. And I was working there. Basically, I come from a family that is very business orientated. After a year or so working as engineer, I love doing engineering. However, I was, a little bit tired with the fact that I was limited with time, I was limited with location,
Mhm.
and also I was limited with the amount of money I could make, right? So I said, you know what? While I'm doing my engineer job, why not try something on the side with my engineering salary? And worst case scenario, next month I get my next paycheck and nothing happened, right? So what I did is basically start selling online on Amazon specifically, start selling my own products, my brands. And eventually, I was very lucky. And of course, with a lot of hard work, that eventually started to become better than my actual engineering job in terms of, money wise. And then, of course, that allowed me to reinvest in the business, but also start getting more involved with the community, going to events, webinars, masterminds, and all that kind of stuff. After going to a couple of events and speaking to people, people were saying, you know a lot, you have a lot of experience as an Amazon seller. Why don't you actually maybe provide this as a support or service? There is a lot of brand owners out there that they have an amazing product, an amazing idea, but they're struggling. So I say, okay, let's give it a try. I found that I come as another venture, and basically it took off. I started getting clients, referrals, and people started recommending me. And from that moment onwards, I'm been focusing a lot now on the agency where I'm being helping hundreds of brands, and my specialty is that basically helping brands succeed on Amazon. Yeah, so it's been quite a journey. Yeah.
Nice, nice, perfect. I know I can personally vouch for Vincenzo because I've met him at, multiple, even virtual podcasts, virtual events, met him in person. So I can definitely vouch for, his expertise, especially when it comes to Amazon PPC. And Vincenzo had figured out a new way of using search query performance, to optimize how you can use that tool within your Seller Central to optimize your pay-per-click campaigns and also optimize your listing. So that's what we're going to dive into. If you're not brand registered, you're not going to have access to that. If you're brand registered, only then you will have access to that. Is that correct, Vincenzo?
Yeah, that's correct. The first thing before I get started with any of this content, guys, the only way you get access to this is you need to have your brand registry. And as soon as you get a brand registry, then you get access to basically brand analytics, which is one of the features within the brand registry, basically family of features that you get. Yeah. Mhm.
Nice. And let's get started. Vincenzo, do you have like presentation or do you want to share your screen? How do you
Yeah. So
distribute?
I'm gonna share my screen, and basically I'm gonna usually I think that's the best way for you guys to learn. I think I need the permission to share my screen.
Okay.
So yeah. Okay. So basically, guys, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna give you an overview of what is basically brand analytics and how we can leverage this. Okay. So I want to start with a brief introduction. Let me start sharing here on my screen. 1 second. And awesome. So I think you guys can see my screen right now. Is that correct?
Yes, we can see that. Yeah.
Yeah. So basically, the first thing I wanna get started with is with the definitions of all the columns I'm gonna be speaking with, because of course, if I don't do this, it's gonna get very technical. So it's very important for me that you guys understand what is the meaning behind each of these. So what I did to make it easy for you guys, I just basically open up the glossary, the metric glossary that Amazon has basically put in terms of definitions to all of this. So once it starts talking about all the strategies, it doesn't get all over our head in terms of what I'm referring to. So the most important ones that I would say are important to understand is the one that have to do with the brand, right? Because impressions, clicks, and all of that are very self-explanatory. So no need to go into those. I think the ones that are very important for me to define is brand count, brand share, and also async count and async share. Okay. So basically, when we start talking about brand count, okay, this is going to be the total number of impressions per async for the selected brand that originated from the search result. So what does it mean, right? So for example, if we go back to, I'm going to open here a tab where we have, um, let me just open here. So for example, here, we're gonna go, okay. So basically we have brand count and brand share, okay? So basically the brand count is from your brand out of this specific search term, right? The one we're looking in the screen, how many products of your brand basically got an impression out of the total amount of impression. I mean, basically the brand share is just a percentage representation of that. It's basically to tell you your brand within that specific search term, what percentage represent. Okay, so this gives you a very good understanding of how much you control on that specific keyword, right? It gives you an understanding if you're overperforming or you're really poor in terms of the control on that keyword. Okay, and then the other one I want to define before we get started is the async count and the async share, right? So basically, it's very similar, but this is going to be at the async level. So the main difference is that at the brand level, you may have multiple asyncs, but at the async level, it's only related to the specific async we are referring to. Okay. So this is the two most important things in terms of definitions, because the rest, again, impressions, click share, and all of that is very self-explanatory. Now, what do I want to do on today's presentation? I want to touch on 6 main cases I use in the search query performance report for. So the number one is for product ideas. Okay, so I use this for product research, identifying new products for launching for my brand and for myself. Then the next one is discovering new search terms. So this is basically looking into search terms that maybe are important for my product, but I'm still not targeting within my PPC campaigns, or I'm not targeting within in terms of ACO. I don't have it on my listing in terms of my title, bullet points, search terms, and these are things, keywords that I must have because Amazon is telling me they're relevant for me. Okay. Then the third case I want to cover is basically in terms of ACO optimization, because once I identify these keywords, I need to understand how my conversion improves, right? I need to understand if my click share improves, if my impressions improve, my add to carts and all that. And this is something that we're going to understand how to analyze the whole funnel and actually make sense of all of this. Then the last case, actually, one of the last cases is going to be identify keywords for peak seasons. So, for example, what we're doing now for Black Friday and Q4 with the search query performance report is that we can go back in time, right? So we can go back in time last year. This is super powerful because let's say we're preparing a compare for Christmas, and we want to understand what happened last Christmas in terms of what were the keywords that were getting the most clicks, the most impressions, etc. So now Amazon is giving you basically this data, which before it was a nightmare. The only way you could get access to this is like if you were very organized and basically on top of things, you would download the report every year and keep an archive of that. That is not need anymore because Amazon allows you to go back. In fact, if I show you on my screen right now, I can, for example, if we go to the quarterly, I can go back 3 years, right? So that means I can go back to Q4 2021 and see what happened, right? And this will give me all the analysis of all the keywords on Amazon. For example, in 2021, the keyword that had the highest search frequency, Nintendo Switch, which I remember is when it was coming out, was a big hype and all of that. So this is super powerful because especially when you're preparing for seasonality, now you know which keywords to target. Then the last, one of the last cases I want to discover is basically you want to explore opportunities to increase your market share. So sometimes, for example, we identify keywords that basically are very relevant, super relevant for your product, but we identify we have a low click share. Once we identify that, basically what we want to do is basically want to add new sponsor product campaigns, sponsor brand campaigns, and things like that to increase the click share in order to get position for the keyword. And the final thing, which goes combined with ACO, is basically split testing. For example, right now within Amazon, you have a tool which I don't know if you guys know called experiments. You can do split testing of your main image, your title, your bullet points, your A+ content. But now, what you can also do is with the brand analytics, you can know what happened after changing an image. If you have now more add to carts, if you have more clicks, more impressions, and this gives you a pretty clear understanding of actually if those changes are actually impacting the changes you're making to your list. Okay.
Wow.
So far, I hope everything is clear. If there's any questions, please feel free, guys, to stop me anytime. I know this, as I start explaining everything, can get a little bit complicated, but the purpose of this session is to provide you guys with as much value as possible.
Guys,
Okay?
if you guys have any questions, please feel free to write number one, and we will take questions accordingly. So if you guys don't know how to get to the search query performance, it's under
Yeah,
your brands tab. Go to your
that's
brand
correct.
and analytics.
So you're gonna have a brands and then brand analytics.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
So that's how you get access to that.
okay, perfect.
Now, let's get started with the first case, right? So the first case is basically you want to identify a new product ideas for your brand, right? So I'm gonna give a very simple example. The way you do this, you go to tab search terms. This is gonna give you access to the whole catalog of Amazon. And let's have an example of Q4 2022. Right now, guys, it's too late to do this, but I'm gonna do it as an example. Let's imagine we're in January 2023. We're just getting started with the year. We're gonna make good money this December. We're gonna understand what was selling last year in 2022. I have an understanding potentially of products that could be a good match for me. Let's say that, for example, you have the idea that you want to sell something in the Christmas space, right? Let's say you want to sell something seasonal, which again, we all know is risky to do, but just for the purpose of this example, I'm going to show you how you can use this to identify ideas. So let's say I want to sell something for Christmas, and I know I'm pretty much gonna do money only for 1 month, and I want to understand what happened during that month last year. So basically, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put, in this case, monthly, right? I'm gonna put 2022, and then I'm gonna put, in this case, December, right? So this is gonna go back to last year, and then here the nice thing is that you can filter. So you can filter based on products, on brands, categories, but the one that I like the most is a search term, because this allows you to filter a ton based on the interest of the keyword itself, right? So let's say, for example, Christmas, right? When I put Christmas, in a matter of seconds, I have all the keywords that during that specific month last year had the biggest amount of basically search frequency rank, which is the ones that had the most search. So basically, Amazon is telling me what are the keywords that brought the most search related to Christmas. So here, for example, we can see Christmas movies, of course, number one when it comes to this type of category. However, as you start going down and down, you identify that certain products that could be interesting potentially for you to sell this year, right? So, for example, you have things that have to do main gifts for Christmas, or Christmas pajamas for family, or Christmas sweater for men. You get the idea, right? And in fact, you can even click on this, and this will take you to Amazon, and you can have an idea of what are the product looking like on that specific search. Now, this makes my work so much easier when it comes to product research, because let's remember, Amazon is a search engine. It's all about keywords. I see a lot of time people only focus when you do come to product research about, the weight, the price, the dimensions, and all of that. But let's be honest, if there is no demand for the keyword, it can be the most amazing product, but nobody's looking for it. So that's why I rather do the opposite. I look for keywords that have a demand, and from that I found ideas. So, for example, if I would like to do something to do with pajamas, which again, in this specific scenario, I wouldn't recommend because clothing and sizes is a bit messy to play with. But let's assume I would like to do pajamas. Then now I know this is one of the highest search keywords when it comes to Christmas. And now from here, of course, I can go deeper into using Killian 10, finding what kind of price point people is selling, like the average price point. Then I can use even Helium 10 to find other long tail keywords that are from pajamas to see if there is enough keywords that realistically will allow me to have a big spread of my search volume and basically have not having all my eggs on this single keyword. And then from that, you can use things such as AI. I mean, AI now makes this process so much easier. You could use AI, say, AI, please design, as an example, innovative designs that have to do with pajamas for Christmas. And now, the keyword has a high search volume. Amazon is giving you that from last year. If you use something like Helium 10, you find let's have at least 15, 20 keywords with high search volume, you have a lot of opportunity to basically get to page one, and you're not relying on a single keyword to succeed. Now, the third thing is design, which was the big block before. Now with AI, you can put this on AI and basically find an amazing design of pajamas and produce it. So you can see how in a matter of minutes now with the search query performance, I can filter based on specific months. And basically that can give me an idea that is validated by Amazon rather than estimation as most tools. And then I use tools to validate on top of that. And then I can create an idea using AI. So we've been doing this for our clients. For example, we have clients that have a lot of seasonality, like we do this for Halloween clients, we do this for Valentine clients, we do this for Christmas. And this not only has to do with a specific seasonality. You could even, for example, if you want to, let's say you're selling kitchen items, right? Therefore, it's no seasonality. What you can do, you can basically do it quarterly. You can download the 4 quarters. You can actually here generate reports. You can put all the 4 quarters, which is the whole year, on an Excel. And basically, let's say we are selling, I'm gonna think like home decor. You're selling home decor, right? So basically now when it comes to home decor, you can download the 4 quarters, you can put all that on a big Excel, and you can find which keywords quarter after quarter keeps being consistent in terms of high search volume. And let's say you're doing home decor. Now you discover, you know what? Actually, I don't have family signs for home decor. And Amazon keeps saying Q4, Q3, Q2, Q1 is a keyword that keeps being high frequency. That means there is demand for that. Now let me go in. Amazon even tells you which are the products that are selling the most on that specific keyword. So now you can simply click, okay, this is the product that has the highest click share and conversion share on family signs for decor. You click on here. This is basically your like your starting point. Like this, how my listing should look. Like the images are very nice. In this case, the listings is wherever written, and then use that as a starting point to do pro research. So
Mm.
hopefully this is clear. Let me know, guys, if you have any questions about this. But this is how we use the search query performance report to do pro research. Yeah.
I think that was a really good idea. To find it gives us so many, good product ideas. But my question to you, Vincenzo, is like,
Mhm.
do you also take a look at search, search frequency rank? Like which one do you, is there any threshold or that you always look for? For example, if you guys don't know what search frequency rank is, uh, Vincenzo, please maybe help us
Yeah.
understand what exactly search frequency rank
Yeah,
and
of course. So the search frequency rank, to be honest, this is something that Amazon doesn't make. It's a calculation that Amazon doesn't really share how this is calculated. It's a combination of things, of conversion rate, sales, and so on. But basically, is the rank that Amazon gives to on that specific family or overall in the catalog in terms of how good the keywords perform in terms of sales, conversions, clicks, and another couple of metrics that they don't make public. So it's basically how good the keyword is within the whole ecosystem. You can see as a BSR, basically, right? It's basically how good the keyword performs. So for example, if we go back, we could see that Amazon for if we remove the keyword, we could see that for December, the one that keyword that has the highest search frequency rank is Grinch, and it makes sense. I mean, that's the keyword most likely most people is looking like. So that's how Amazon calculates that. It's basically how relevant the keyword is for that specific score, and it's a combination again of impression, clicks, add to carts, and all of that. Yeah.
sounds good. And
So
do you
in
look
terms of range, yeah,
okay, sorry,
I,
sorry. Just follow up to that. Like, what's the range that you're looking at?
yeah,
You don't want
yeah, I
to
was
get
gonna.
every keyword. So, like, what's the range you're looking at? Maybe 10,000, less than 10,000, less than 50,000.
Yeah, so for example, a range I like to stay within is under 30,000. Yeah, so that's the one on 30,000. However, that doesn't always mean that you find something over 30,000 is not good, because you may find keywords that are over 30,000 that can give you an idea to a product that when you take to hidden term, you identify that it connects to other keywords that have a highest um, frequency, because it might be that you only found a long tail one, but then you go to hidden term and you find that actually a two-word keyword actually has a 10,000 search frequency rank. So that's why always don't discard just because the search rank is high. It might be that you only found a long tail, but that's a good thing. You found something super niche, but maybe that ramifies to a keyword that's more broad and that still defines the product. Yeah.
That's a really good point. Makes sense.
Okay.
And we have a question in the chat. If you could go through the
Yeah. So
brief steps. Once you find the keyword. What do you do the next?
yeah. So basically, once I found the keyword, right? So I can make the example actually with a family sign, right? So let's put home decor. Okay, so family signs, right? So let's say I found this keyword interesting. Now what I want to do is basically find if this keyword potentially has enough bandwidth in terms of selling this product. It has more long tail keywords. So something that I like to use, let me actually just quickly log here on Helium 10. So basically what I like to do is I like to do reverse async in Helium 10, which I'm pretty sure most of you might know how it's done. So basically the way you will go about that is that you select the top 10 selling asins, right? And basically you do a reverse async using Cerebro, right? So the idea of here is to find keywords that are consistent across my top sellers when it comes to family signs for home, right? So here, let's have an example that, for example, I want to do signs that have to do, yeah, this one is going like family quotes, right? So I could take this as an example. Now I'm gonna do it on the fly. Again, spend more time filtering. Just for the sake of this, I'm gonna show you what I usually do. Let's say this I select the products that have this the most the highest similarity, because let's say I want to do something to do with wood. You want to select only the ones made of wood. You want to do ones made of steel, you analyze the ones made of steel. Okay, so once you run zero prompt, basically what this is going to allow us to find is which are the keywords that basically the top sellers are ranking on page one. Ideally, what I want to find is at least 15 to 20 keywords that have a search volume higher than 500 to 1000. Because if I only find 2 or 3 keywords, that means most of the competition is concentrated on a few keywords, and therefore it's going to be super saturated niche and most likely not going to be a good product. I want to have enough keywords for me to have enough opportunity that if I don't get on page one on certain keywords, I have other options on the table, right? So we're gonna wait for Cerebro to load. And now the nice thing of Cerebro is that basically it has buttons that do it very quickly. You can click top keywords. And this basically will filter this for you. So click top keywords, and we have around 28 keywords, right? So from here, we gonna add a order by search volume. And once you order by search volume, you could see that realistically we have, we have around 15 keywords that have actually a respective search funnel. Like for example, this would be an interesting product because you have a lot of long tail keywords. Of course, some of these might be need to remove, like for example, silver. If you're not gonna do silver, it has to be removed. Blaze, rustic, it depends on the type of product. But overall, if we do a quick scheme of all the keywords, like most of them are generic and will apply to the product multiple times. So this, for example, would be an interesting niche I would like to go deeper. So once I have this as an idea, then what I will do is, for which I'm sure Kamal has done some topics around this, I will use AI to get the reviews of all the top competitors. I will analyze what people usually like and don't like, and people would wish to get on these family-related signs. I will create a brief and then come up with signs that most likely don't exist on the market yet. And then based on the reviews, I'm validating this because I know people is needing this. And then before I actually do a launch, what I usually do with our clients, I use a service such as, for example, a Pitfalls or Product Opinion, just to give an overview. If the ideas that the AI gave me, like 2 or 3 designs using even Midjourney, which I'm pretty sure maybe you guys have heard Midjourney. Let's say I come up with 3 or 4 concepts of designs of these signs, like different fonts, different sizes. I use a community-based service such as Pitfalls or Product Opinion, come up with the winner, and then usually that's a pretty solid launch strategy because you have validated this by Amazon data. Use the Amazon data brand analytics to validate with Helium 10. And once you have the Helium 10, that in this case, we have enough keywords, like this would be a pretty solid product launch because you have 15 plus keywords that are relevant. Then you have enough spread to get position. Then of course I will go and do the AI designs and all that. Again, this is high level. Myself, I even want to go even the extra step. I even do something called the PPC budget estimation. For example, here, Helium 10 give you an estimation of bits. So for example, I would like to use the estimation how much I will pay per bit. And then you can even go, again, I don't want to get too technical, but I'm going to give you high level the idea. You will get the average of bits. You go back to brand analytics, right? And for that specific keyword, Amazon tells you, for example, what's the usual conversion rate on that niche, and then you can extrapolate with the conversion rate what bid you could potentially afford to get X acres, right? So, and that gives an estimation of how much you will need to spend to position yourself on page one, right?
That's really interesting. So yeah, so I think uh, in brief, you mentioned pretty quickly, once you get the product idea, then from product idea into, you look at the overall spread of different keywords, and Helium 10 also gives you estimate, cost per click, which also, that way you can also calculate the margins.
Yeah.
So guys, what we're going to do, so this is the main purpose of search query performance, is to give you the product ideas, and then you have
Yeah.
to use your the natural, the traditional product research or product verifying approach that you guys normally would take. But it gives you so many good ideas, so that way you're not taking a cookie cutter approach, from database of the software in Jungle Scout or Helium 10. So, but yeah, this is really helpful. Thank you so much, Vincenzo. So moving
No
forward,
worries.
what's the second use of search query performance
Yeah.
that you guys
So the second use, it will be discovering new search terms, right? Because what is going to happen is that over time, as you get, that's another thing as you need to consider. When you get your brand approved, most likely your search query performance is going to be empty. It needs some time to start getting data. Usually, I will say a week, give it a week. After a week, Amazon is going to start showing you data related to your product. And basically what you can do, like with this demo account, for example, if I take one of these ASINs and I take quarterly as an example, I'm going to take Q3 this year. Basically, Amazon tells me for this specific ASIN, which are the keywords that have the highest search query volume and score for this specific ASIN. So now, why? I guess we wonder why this is important, right? So something that is very important to define as one, because again, I want to make sure you understand the definition. The search query score, as you can see on the definition, is basically the rank of each search query from top performing to bottom performance on the 100 ranked queries at this point for your specific ASIN, right? So that means Amazon is taking all the ASINs that basically have a correlation to your ASIN and selling which are the most relevant, which is the less relevant, right? So the reason why this is very important is because we might find sometimes that Amazon is telling us these are the keywords that are most important for your product, but you're actually not advertising on this in the first place. So what we do with this report is we check this on a monthly basis and we download this report. You can download this report. And unfortunately, I don't have the template in front of me right now, but basically what you will do is very simple. You download this report, you want to download the last 30 days PPC report from your PPC campaigns. And then basically you can just do a lookup a formula on Excel. And basically you want to make sure that all the keywords that Amazon tells you on a weekly basis have a high search query score against your ASIN. You are advertising them. And you'll be surprised how many times Amazon tells you you're relevant for certain keywords or you're indexing for certain keywords and you're not running any PPC on them, right? So basically what you can do is on the Excel, one tab is going to be the search query performance for the last 30 days. One tab is going to be the search query, the last 30 days PPC search term report. And then with a lookup, you can just put a formula, say, oh, in the lookup, if this keyword repeats on this tab, put a check on basically a PPC sponsor. If not, don't put an ad check. And this on a monthly basis allows you to find new search terms to keep adding to your PPC campaigns. And you always can make sure that whatever Amazon is indexing and finding super relevant to your listing, you are advertising on those keywords. Yeah.
That was really good. Thank you so much. So just to recap, what you guys want to do, if you guys are running the PPC, download your last month's report on, from Seller Central on PPC, and also export the search query performance report and do a lookup formula if the keyword repeats. If it's missing in the PPC and you're indexing, go back and add it to your existing campaigns, or do you start a new campaign with the new keywords? Which one?
So basically, yeah, I will create a new campaign. Yeah, that's correct. Yeah.
Every single time
Mhm.
you add a new campaign. Okay,
That's correct. Mhm.
that makes sense. Okay, so this was really, really good. So I didn't know that. So I'm definitely gonna, after this call, spend some time, doing exactly the same. So really, really good.
Awesome. So that's the second use. Now, the third use, and this is also something people miss a lot, that has also to do with the screen you're looking in front of me. We can use it for SEO optimization, right? Because basically Amazon is telling you what are the keywords that are the most relevant for your product, but at the same time, how you performing against those keywords in the first place, right? So on this screen, as you can see right now, I can see that, for example, one of the keywords that have the highest impression count is curly hair shampoo, right? 1,300,000. However, my ASIN share, which is my pro share of impression, is almost inexistent. So of course, this has to be a combination. I first need to make sure I'm advertising that one. But once I'm advertising if my ASIN share is still very low, this actually also can reflect on something to do with your listing optimization. It might be that you're actually in the first instance, you're not putting this keyword on the right position within your listing. And we all know when you optimize your listing, it's all about placement. It's about what you put in your title, what you put in your bullet points, what you put in your search terms, and what you put in the backend. All right. So basically, Amazon is telling you which are the keywords that have the highest impression count on your category. And therefore, it's basically telling you the answer, which keyword should be in the title in the first place, because the ones you want to have in your title are the ones that are going to potentially give you the highest attribution of impressions, right? So basically on this list on a monthly basis, what we want to make sure is that the ones that have the highest impression count and you can order, like for example, clarifying shampoo, of course you need to make sure it's relevant to your problem, which we always do manually. But once we identify which are the highest search volume keywords in terms of impressions, we need to make sure they are in the title. Because if they're not in the title, most likely we're not having the biggest weight attribution towards ranking. And if we don't put enough weight towards ranking, then most likely we're never going to fully explore the potential of impression share. So basically, with this report, also on a monthly basis, you can identify which are the keywords that are highly relevant for your listing because Amazon is connecting that to your listing due to your category and your sales history, but you don't have enough impression share. And the way you have a look at this, very simple. Like you have here impression share, you have here the ASIN share. Like for example, this I have 0. And this keyword is super important. That means most likely this keyword I have it nowhere in my listing. So I will have to go in, put it on my title, or whenever I find a feasible, most likely the title, to make sure I start attributing impression share. Okay.
Okay,
Does that
interesting.
make sense?
Yeah, that makes sense. Guys, if you have any questions, please feel free to ask. So let's say, Vincenzo, so I find a keyword that has a really good, impressions count, and my ASIN share is like really, really low. So the first thing, just to recap, the first thing that I'm gonna do, I'm gonna make sure I am targeting that keyword in the PPC. If not, add it in the PPC campaigns. If not, if it's already there, the second thing I'm gonna do is look out for, based on how much search volume there is, like strategically place that keyword either in the
Exactly.
product title or bullet points, and in the backend keyword search terms. So my question is, when new seller launches a product, right? So when they get their listing, so their listing is already filled with like lots of keywords based on their research or based on the professional that they hire. They all automatically put those keywords in, using, like, let's say helium 10 or something.
Mhm.
And search query performance would take about a month or so to give you the data. So what is the best practice of changing those keywords? Let's say you have a listing with different keywords
Mhm.
and you find a totally a new data using the search query performance. Would you just change the entire listing, or like would you do one keyword at a time? What's your approach in changing those
Yeah.
keywords?
Yeah. Usually when I optimize a listing, I change one attribute at a time. And what I mean by this is if I change my title, I only change my title at once. Then I wait a few days, I do my bullet points, because if you change the whole listing at once, most of the time when you change all at once, it's going to de-index the whole listing and it's going to need some time to index again. You don't want to do that. So do one thing at the time. And ideally, what you mentioned is very important. I would do maximum 2 to 3 keywords at the time. I wouldn't change all the listing at once, because then that could basically trigger the indexing and indexing again of the title. So I will just change maybe the 2 or 3 keywords, wait 2 3 days, see how that performs, and do small changes at the time, mainly because the reason behind the waiting actually is to avoid triggering that de-indexation, right? So you're gonna do small changes at the time. So that means Amazon doesn't think you're fully changing all at once, and then basically entering into a period that needs again time for the listing to index. Yeah.
Okay, perfect. No, that sounds
Mhm.
good. Yes, if you don't have any questions, maybe we can keep going.
Yeah, of
Um,
course.
and Vincenzo,
Yeah.
did you
So
add to search query performance or?
yeah. So basically, the next case I want to bring is the peak season usage of this, right? And this basically we've been using this so much now for basically Black Friday, right? So for example, what we did, I'm gonna do an example here, is let's say I want to understand what happened in November last year, which is Black Friday, for home decor. Let's say I'm selling home decor. So basically now I can identify for that specific period, which are the keywords that sold the most, right? For that specific period. And I can make sure I optimize accordingly. Of course, home decor is very broad. So again, you're not gonna see a lot of changes. However, if I put family, home decor, you're gonna see that for Black Friday period, these are the keywords that have the highest search frequency run, right? Again, some of these are very high, so maybe the search volume wasn't super high, but let's put something to do with Christmas, for example, and then gift, like people start buying for Christmas, right? So for example, if you're on the category, I can start, and this is very similar to the introduction I gave you at the beginning. You can understand what happened last year in Black Friday. Just put the keyword that defines your product. And then, okay, for Black Friday, these are the keywords that move the most search in terms of correlation to my niche. I need to make sure I have these keywords on my PPC, and I need to make sure I have these keywords on my listing. So I will start optimizing around October to make sure that I try to replicate similar behavior that usually, again, it's not going to be one-to-one because, trends and behavior change year after year, but it's going to be very similar. So if you have these keywords on your listing and title, especially, and you target them with PPC, and you make sure you use all these different keywords, basically you can make sure you have a very successful, or at least as close as successful, Black Friday as last year. And another trick you can do, you can also get the ASIN of your main competitor. So for example, this is the ASIN that sold the most last year for family sign. I could take that ASIN. I can say, for that ASIN, tell me what happened last year on November. And basically, Amazon is going to tell me that ASIN, most of the search came from these three keywords, right? Basically, I can spy on my competitors, what they did last year in November, and make sure I target very heavily these keywords. And in fact, we can prove that because if I go to the same ASIN, the ASIN is TT1K. Going back here, you can see that for that specific keyword, they were the one that had the highest click share and conversion trend. So basically, Amazon is telling you the answer about which competitor were dominating which keyword on which specific space on time, which I mean, that's game changer, because if you're launching a new product on this season and you want to understand what your competitor did last year, Amazon's giving you the answer for that. So, yeah.
Wow, that's incredible. I think so many good action items. I think so this is absolutely, like you mentioned, this is going to be a game changer, right? So for example, people who are launching, products now, lots of our clients, they have, they're just getting their photography and creatives done. So I would highly recommend you go to Search Query Performance, go to the last year's same month, and look
Mhm.
spy on your competitors' keywords and use those keywords. So really, really
Yeah.
good.
Yeah. We
We
have a few questions here. So it says, if it asks for a bundle, how does this tool help? Any example? Thank you. So I guess when you say bundle, I need to understand if you mean virtual bundle or just an actual bundle. If it's just an actual bundle, same, nothing will change, because if you look, it's gonna sell a bundle. Most likely they saw people doing a bundle. So just try to find an ASIN that sells a bundle. You take the ASIN, you go back to brand analytics, put the ASIN there, and just put the period, most likely put quarterly, so you have enough data, and you can see what people, that specific bundle competitor is getting most of his search volume in terms of keywords. So that's how I will do it.
Yeah.
Okay. A second question. In your example, it says family wall sign and family sign. So the keyword that I will put on the listing is family wall sign or family wall sign, for example. Does it matter how the keyword are praised?
Oh, so what he's saying is like, you have family, somewhere with a different phrase than wall.
You mean if in phrase format or spread? That's, I guess, what he meant.
I
Yeah.
think that
Yeah. So it will have to be in phrase format. Yeah. To have the biggest effect. So exactly as you have it on the search query performance.
perfect.
Mhm.
And if you guys have any other questions other than the search query performance, I'm doing a coaching call tomorrow, so I'll be very happy to take those questions as well tomorrow. But thank you. So Vince, is there anything else in terms of search query performance, or these are the four uses?
Yeah. So I think another thing I want to bring you guys, and this I think you're gonna find very interesting, is on the search query performance report. Another thing that you can do is that, let's say Amazon tells you which are the keywords that the most relevant to your product, and you design your PPC product targeting campaigns, and you always, I know when I have this conversation, it's like I don't know which agents to target. I'm confused, like which are actually my competitors. I don't really know. Amazon now gives you the answer in one click. So for example, this product, Amazon tells me coconut milk shampoo is the #1 keyword. So instead of having to go to Helium 10 and spend all your time, you just click on it, and now Amazon in a matter of seconds tells you for that keyword which are the top 10 products that sell the most. So you just take all these ASINs and run product targeting campaign. That's it, right? So Amazon tells you on a keyword level which are the top 10 products that control that specific keyword. So you take the top 10 ASINs, you download them, and just run product targeting on them and target them, because Amazon tells you those are the ones getting all the sales on the keyword. Does it make sense?
It makes sense.
I can I
Is
can
it?
repeat it again.
Yeah,
Yeah.
please, if you could do that, that would be awesome. I
Yeah.
think.
So you go to search query performance, you go to the ASIN view. You can only see your ASINs, of course. Then Amazon tells you on that specific frame which are the keywords that are the most relevant for your product. This is obvious because this shampoo is made of coconut. So I would like to do product targeting on other coconut milk shampoos. I only click on that. In fact, it says select a query to learn more. You click on that, Amazon will load a new page. It will give you metrics in terms of what is the average click rate on that keyword, total amount of clicks. It tells you, for example, the metrics of your ASIN on that specific niche. And for example, here, you can have an understanding of how you're performing against your top competitors. So for example, the #1 guy selling on this specific keyword is having a 13% click share on that keyword. This guy even have 32. So the reason why this is important, and this actually applies to all of you launching a product for the first time. When we're launching a product and we actually struggle to understand why we are not ranking organically, we do this and say, okay, Amazon is telling me that for this specific keyword, the actual average is around 10%, 12% click share. If I then go on my metrics and my click share on the actual analytics is like 0.07, I will never rank on this keyword. That means I will have to push. Basically, you have to do the math. Like these guys at least have around 500, 600 clicks. If the average per click is $1, that means you have to spend at least $600, $700 per month to be able to get enough clicks to potentially get the same click share, which the click share then you have to play with main image pricing to try to match the click share and get ranked organically. So basically now you know on a single page what is the average you need to match in terms of click share to be able to rank organically. And basically here I'm 007. I'm very far from that. That means I will have to put much more money on this keyword until I get realistically close to this click share. And that's when your organic ranking is going to match your top competitors. Yeah.
That was really good. That was really smart. Thank you so much for sharing that.
Worries.
David says,
So
thank you.
yeah.
Perfect.
So now, and for example, yeah, you can also see this is the click rate at the overall keyword. This is also very important because sometimes we fall in love with certain keywords and we say, this is the main keyword, but I'm not getting sales and all of that. And sometimes they are keywords that are meant for window shopping. They're keywords that are meant for behavior in terms of purchases. So this keyword, out of almost, as you can see here, out of 8,000 search, only half people click on it. So the intention is very high. However, sometimes you're gonna find keywords that the click share is very low, like 10%. So if you find a keyword that for the whole, this is the whole keyword, it's not a specific ASIN. On the whole month, 8,000 query volume. So if you find keyword that the click rate is very low, most likely the issue is not even your product. It's just the keyword that, let's say, I'm gonna give you an example. If somebody's buying coconut shampoo for this example, maybe if you go on a keyword such as only shampoo, maybe the click share is much lower because the intention is less niche, right? So that's why these sometimes give you an understanding if you actually, the issue sometimes is you or the actual key or the intention that key is very low. Yeah.
I
Okay.
think that was really good.
No worries. And I think the final thing that I want to finalize, this is also very important, guys, is the funnel. Sometimes, let me just put quarterly so I have an update. Sometimes we have the issue that, we have impressions, clicks, add to carts, and purchases. That's the funnel, first sections. And sometimes we don't know if the issue has to do with conversions or sometimes have to do with other things down the line, like add to carts or actually making the purchase. So a good way to know what is actually your issue is that basically you can come in, right? And you can identify if from top to bottom, it should always go from highest to lowest. It should always be like that. However, sometimes we find the opposite, right? I'm gonna see if I find an example here, maybe here. So yes, let's have a look here. Let's actually have this as an example. It's not the numbers I want as for the example, but I'm gonna explain it to you. If your impressions are like 400, then you have 4 clicks out of that, so very low. I know that's why I said the numbers here don't make good help for example. But let's assume this instead of 400 was like 40, like 10%. And then out of that 40, the add to cart will go up to something like, let's say you have 40, but then you have the conversion in terms of brand share will go up. So for example, here we have 0.2. Oh, actually, this is a good example. We have zero. Let's go back to the numbers so the percentage is actually easier for you guys. We have 0.48, which is the brand share out of that. Then we go down to 0.20, 0.2, but then my add to cars go to 0.28. That means more people is adding to car in terms of percentage against how many people click. So actually, this is showing me that once people add to cart and then the purchase, in this case is 0, but let's assume this would be 0.5. So when we have this influx, like impression is high, then clicks is lower, but then add to carts and purchases goes up. That means that usually the issue is not to do with conversion, it's to do with traffic, because that means once the traffic lands on the add to cart, the intention becomes very big to make a purchase. So that means we are not sending enough clicks and impressions in the first instance, okay? I know with these numbers, it's not very clear, but basically that's the exercise you have to do. And you're gonna find a lot of keywords because we do with our clients. You're gonna find you have a normal impression, then clicks go down, but then your percentage of add to cart go up and your purchases go even bigger than your add to cart. So that means once the people add the product to cart, basically the purchase pretty much secure. And that means that most likely you have a traffic issue. However, when it's the opposite, which you have a lot of impressions, a lot of clicks, and a lot of cards, and actually now this will be a good example. We have add to cards, we have clicks, but we have no purchases. That means there is something happening on this stage, which people is adding to cart. In fact, a lot of here add to cards, but not a lot of purchases. And that means there's something lacking there. Usually it's a pricing issue, because usually when you have add to cart, the only thing you can compare is price against other products that people will add to their cart, right? And now there's a trick for that. Amazon released a new thing called, I'm gonna show you. Uh, in this case, in this account, I don't have it activated, but it's called brand tailor promotions. Okay. So the brand tailor promotions, in fact, I'm gonna see if I can show you an example. The brand tailor promotions, basically what it's gonna allow you to do is you can target add to cart, right? And that's super powerful because basically what you can do is let's say you have a lot of add to cart that basically they added to cart, but they're just basically not converting. What you can do with that is you can retarget them with a specific promotion. So for example, let me I'm gonna try to find you an example, guys. Let's see. Any questions in the meantime while I find you this example?
Not really. Maybe the one question that I can think of, like, what are, you know, what are some of the reasons that you think people would leave the product in cart and not
Yeah,
purchase? And how do you know that what is the right KPI to have? Do you have any
yeah,
data?
yeah. So basically, the right KPI that I will usually implement for this, and actually, I'm gonna show you this as well. So let me just wanna show you this. So I'm gonna share my screen now. Yeah. So let me share my screen so you can see.
And guys, we
Um,
have like 5 minutes left to this call, like 4 minutes. So if you have any questions, please send them over in the chat,
mhm.
so that Vince can take those questions.
Yeah. So basically, the brand tailor promotions is gonna be a dashboard like the one you can see in my screen right now, and you're gonna find it on the brands. You can click on create a tailor promotion, and basically you can use this. You can advertise against brand car abandoners last 90 days. So basically now with this new feature Amazon released like 2 months ago, if I identify that my keywords are suffering from a lot of add to cart, I will just blast them with a strong 15-20%. And basically all these 3,000 people in this example that are waiting on my car will receive a banner saying, basically there's a promotion for you, right? Like it will be like coupon like this in the actual listing itself. So basically, you can use that to attack this behavior, which is the one we're looking here. What is it? Yes, here you can attack this behavior that you have a lot of add to cards, but not a purchases. Now you're asking me what is the right percentage.
Mhm.
So when it comes to the percentage of add to cart, so I wouldn't say there's a specific number, because just going back to this again, so if I show you, for example, if I show you, let me see, let me just share, guys, again that is just brought. So if I share again a specific date, you're gonna find that the add to cart metrics are gonna be very specific, unfortunately, to the keyword itself, right? Because some keywords, as I already gave you the example before, have a higher intention towards purchase than others. So just to put you a very easy example, you can see here, you have put a home decor, right? You can see that the conversion rate is completely all over the place depending on the keyword. So I think the most important thing for me, right, than the actual percentage, is that when I go to my search query performance at the async view, and I take the specific async to, let's say, Q4 this year, it's all about the trend, right? So going back to the thing I told you, if I see that the percentage is actually lowering down the funnel, that means I start with a high percentage when it comes to operation, and when it comes to the purchase, the percentage very low. That usually means I have an issue down the funnel. That means I need to improve my add to cart and purchases. Usually that's with pricing and using the option that Amazon gives you to retarget abandoned carts or people that have been interested as well. Because here, the other feature we use is called potential new customers. This is people that have seen your product as well, and you can retarget them, right? So you can do that. But if you see the other behavior, which funny enough, we see a lot, the other behavior is basically the opposite. You have impression high, clicks go lower, but then add to carts go higher again in terms of percentage against clicks. That means the issue is actually you should be putting more money on that keyword, because every single traffic you send, once you reach the add to cart purchase behavior, is actually going up in percentage. So that means the issue is actually not sending enough traffic. So that's usually the two scenarios more than the actual percentage. Yeah.
Okay. This was awesome, Vince. Thank you so much. And guys,
No
if you
problem.
have not done the brand registry, I would highly recommend that you speak with your account manager at AMZ One Step and get that done, because if you don't have access to this, you're missing out on
Mm.
a gold mine. So for me personally, I have some action items that I'm definitely gonna go and implement them later today. Vince, so how can, if somebody needs to get in touch with you, how can they reach out
Yeah.
to you? What's the
Yeah,
best?
of course. So yeah, if you have any questions are also, just to share also this with you guys. So if you have any questions, feel free to just go to our website. And here we offer free consultation for anybody that might be interested. Just click here at the top, becomc.com, and you can book a free consultation with my team. And if you want to find me, you can find me on all the social media channels. Just look for Vincenzo Toscano. And in there, basically, you can feel free to send me a DM or any questions. Happy to help where possible. Yeah.
Awesome. And this recording, will be uploaded in the classroom section. So if you guys want to watch it over again, please feel free to. So thank you so much, Vince, for being a part of our, community and special guest. We really appreciate that. And I'm pretty sure, our community is going to find a ton of value from here. So we're getting like 150 new members every single month to our community.
Wow.
And,
Congrats.
they'll find it very useful. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Kamal, and thank you for everything that you do for this community. Pleasure to be here. And anytime I'm here, man. Yeah.
So
Pleasure. Thank you. Bye bye.